of surplus vehicles, the thousands and thousands of dollars that Kevin Palmer has saved this town, thousands of dollars. Mike Burdick picking up trucks online and all that kind of thing.
Excuse me, Roger, you want to take one home and drive it? Because they're crap. I got one, a new one. You can't even climb a hill. They're Army junk.
Oh.
Personally, you might save a lot of money, but they're not that good. They're really not that good. I'm sorry. I have the last three trucks I drive are nothing but junk.
Well, then that's got to be looked at, and maybe there's got to be some engine improvement or something. I'm just trying to get the point across that we've saved a lot of money for this town through all kinds of vehicles. A leaf item is coming up from Long Island, and a large tanker truck, which you put a new back on it. It was a garbage truck, and you put a tanker on it, I believe. So I'm trying to point out the Highway Department has done a lot of good things, and we realize that. It makes it that much worse. We also have 4 other individuals today that we had to talk to. And it's not pleasant. You think I like this, you're crazy. I never anticipated doing this as elected to the town board. We're in a hole, and we're going to get out of this thing, and there is pain. There's no question about it. It was quoted in the Journal News today about that. It's very unpleasant, Mike.
Well, Roger, there's no pain in the tax assessor's line. The tax assessor's going up from $132,083 in the preliminary budget, which was the second draft, to $167,123 in the final. So right there's $35,000 in an enhancement. At the same time, we're in one department, which is a redundant department, in my opinion.
One of the employees is a member of the CSEA. The contract that you signed several years ago gives the CSEA workers a 4% raise.
Okay, 4% is $35,000, Bob. How much are they making?
Yeah. This fat in the budget in the town clerk's office I mentioned earlier where you could save $17,000, that was not even touched. You said we're going to cut back to the bare bones. The town clerk's office has not been cut back to the bare bones. As a matter of fact, it's at the same staffing level, and I think the salaries in the town clerk's office is up to about
The town clerk went back to
$170,000 in salaries they're at. So, that's where we can cut some of the fat out, and that hasn't even been looked at or touched.
I think it's important to know that everyone has been, I believe, elected officials, our salaries were cut back to 2009, and that the town clerk's office, the budget this year as amended for 2010 was $144,451, and the proposed budget is $135,860. And I believe the tax assessor's office has been handling a lot of certioraries and has been doing a lot of other work and will be doing work that's mandated by the state. Once again, you have an issue where we're being required by the state to perform certain services which increase what we have to pay our people who do that, like the tax assessor's office. So that's something that you've got to consider.
I'm going to continue to fight for a 0% tax increase before this vote goes on. And I take, when the senior said, that hits you in the pocket. I remember going to the A&P. My mother's a senior also. When you're online and you watch the seniors go and pull out a couple coupons, and then they add it up and it comes out to $6.72. That's a big savings to a senior week after week, and that's important. But like I said earlier, a 9%, 10% tax increase, what are you getting for it? At this local level, it hurts our seniors. It can't be done. We had a tax increase last year by the majority of the town board again. I believe it was 4%. So I have to emphasize, don't let anybody kid you. $6 to a senior is a lot of money. You're on a fixed income. Your COLA has not increased this year at all also, and I feel your pain too. So I'm going to continue to say 0% tax increase. Funding for the library and other services will be cut back. However, if we watch our spending, those funding can come back. I see the highway guys here. You guys do a fantastic job. I turned down 2 votes to buy you guys new trucks because I said to myself, $175,000 for a truck is a lot of money. We can't afford it. I said, why don't we spend $50,000 and fix the old truck, let it run for another couple of years. We can save $125,000. But the majority spending habit was, no, let's buy 1 new truck, let's buy 2 new trucks. I know you guys need the trucks. I was a police officer in the 1980s. During the budget crunch, you used to drive a police car with 50,000 miles. They let those cars go up to 75,000 miles. I wasn't too happy driving a police car like that. I had no say because they needed to save money and save jobs. That's what we need to do here. And I'm going to continue to fight 0% tax increase.
Well,
and
the 0%,
I implore this town board to do the same.
The 0% tax increase budget that was presented by the supervisor had the library closed, Dwight, so I don't know.
It will be closed, but I said the funding can come back if we watch our spending next year. And we have MS4 projects and other sources of revenue coming back to the town, we can open the library up.
And I
We're not
believe-
the only community that has closed the library before, and I understand the pain in doing that, but we have to do it somewhere.
I'm
We
not
can't
keen
hurt
on-
the seniors.
Yeah, and folks, I'm not keen on closing the library. We're anticipating reimbursement for MS4 stormwater from a $12 million fund, MS4, which is stormwater control measures. And that money has gone out the door. We're looking for reimbursement. I've said all along, when that money comes in next year, that can be directed to the library to keep the doors open. It won't be 100% of what they had last year, but it can help, and it would be off budget, so it would not come at a tax increase. Contextually, I would like to notice that the old town hall bond, we all know, was recently defeated. That was going to cost about $40 per household per month. The new firehouse on Milltown, that was defeated. A year, pardon me. A year. The new firehouse on Milltown, that was going to cost folks in round numbers about $40 a year per household. That was defeated. And the 10% tax increase that the town board majority is insisting on tonight will be in excess of each of those defeated measures. Yes, Andy?
There are two issues I'd like to address. Firstly, I think both budgets that have been presented have been totally irresponsible. I think the supervisor's budget with 0% increase, which I would love to see because I am a disabled veteran, and my cost of living for both last year and this year and next year was 0%. Okay? So I've taken a decrease in my spending income by a tax increase last year. I'm going to take another one by a tax increase this year. And I think that a 9% increase is totally irresponsible, probably as irresponsible as a 0% increase. You know, I think both of them are posturing, both of them are political, and none of them is based in reality of what we really need to do in this town. Okay? Cuts, you know, I was a businessman for 30 years. I laid off people, I hired people, I worked for people, I was laid off, I was hired. It's not an easy task, but it is a task that needs to be done, and it's an unfortunate task that needs to be done. And there are times when there is no money and you can't keep going to a non-existent well, that's the answer that you have to do. You know, across the board, we have an $8 million budget, okay? You can't tell me you can't start finding cuts to bring if the tax increase is necessary, and I understand unfunded mandates. I've listened to the town board, you know, over the past few months, you know, and I understand there are some things that have been hit and that we have to take care of, but the pain needs to be spread throughout the entire budget. If the library, and I appreciate the library, needs to be cut some more, they need to be cut some more. If the museum needs to be cut, it needs to be cut. If personnel need to be cut, they need to be cut. Maybe we should cut some town board members. You know, I mean, you talk about the gravy train. There it is, right there. And that brings me to my second point: the gravy train. Okay, and your check of that $1.8 million and the time period of January 2009 to March of 2010. I've brought this up a number of times. Approximately half of that I could add up in my mind at the time were bid items that predated, you can shake your head all you want, Mr. Yee, that predated Severn Trent, if you look at their contract, which is $500,000. If you look at the engineering for some of the water districts, they predate that time period. Okay, and therefore would not be subject to that audit period. And we've also mentioned that if a contract such as the engineering fees for a water district went past 1 year, you would not rebid it. You would not send out a new RFP and get a new engineering fee, service in the middle of a contract.
Thanks,
So
Andy.
that $1.8 million check that you're sitting there writing, I hope you change it and bring it down a little bit.
Me too, Andy. I'm determined to do that.
Andy, what we do with, what the supervisor and I had asked to do was to put all of our engineering services out for an RFP. And then the state auditor also, Controller's Office, agreed with us. And the reason why we want to put that, well, we can keep Severn Trent and the other ones, but what we need to do is put these things out to bid.
It was
Get the
not
fa-
a matter of
get the
keeping
fair
them.
market prices of these
They
things.
were bid.
They were
They
bid.
were a bid item. They had a multi-year contract.
In 95.
That
In
surpassed
1990
that timeframe.
In 95, Andy.
And so let me make my point then. We need to put all these professional services out for bid. In this day and age, during this recession economy, the reason is we can get a fair market price for these. And what we were looking for was at least a 20% savings on all these engineering firms, which then we can give back to the community, and you don't have a tax increase. Listen, we can nickel and dime and pick and choose. The State Controller's Office has said you need to put these out to find out the best price for the community.
We're waiting.
The
Every
same
3
thing
years.
is,
Made up.
okay, and it needs to be done. And Mr. Cullen, yes, we will be doing that, okay? And if you want to pick and choose
We're
who you
waiting.
want, exactly, we will continue
Bob,
that. But the-
You know,
You weren't
Dwight,
interested in it in
I'm
January
going to
21.
object
Andy
again
has the
to what
floor.
you're saying, because you keep pointing to the state auditor, okay? And the state auditor tested a number of contracts over a certain period of time. He did not look at, and you, as the town board and supervisor, as the budget officer, did not give him the information that said that Severn Trent's contract was a bid contract, was a multi-year contract.
That's not true, Andy. They
All
noted it.
that was ever told the state controller was that within that time period, it was not bid.
No, Andy, you're mistaken, sir, because the comptroller in his report notes that the last time that these items went out, in many instances, most of these instances, was around 1995. That's a 15-year period, and the comptroller's policy is economic competition every 3 years.
That is absolutely not true, because
Andy, I have
I'm
the
gonna, no,
comptroller.
wait a second, Michael, because I was involved in conversations with this board about Severn Trent in 2008, and it was rebid at that time. Okay? It was rebid at that time.
Well, there are some
Because-
special
Andy,
districts.
on note number 4 says the town has used the same firm for over 10 years without any evidence that the town officials periodically solicited competition for this service. Instead of seeking competition, town officials engaged in the same firm year after year. While the town is not legally required to competitively bid when procuring professional service, the appropriate use of competition, such as using an RFP process or obtaining quotes, provides taxpayers with the greatest assurance that services are procured in the most prudent and economical manner without favoritism. That comes from the New York State Controller's Office. If you want to just look at Severn Trent, fine, I understand that's the community that you live in, but we have
No,
to
it's
look
not the
at-
community I live in. I happen to live in a community that is serviced by Severn Trent.
Okay.
Severn Trent services how many communities in the town? They
Special
take care of the water districts in almost all of the town, okay, including the sewer districts. Their contract of $500,000 or whatever it is not just for my community. It is a town-wide issue, and it was a town-wide. I fought very hard against Severn Trent. I hate them. I think they're the worst outfit I've ever heard of, I've ever dealt with. Okay, and since the time they took over the water district, our water quality has gone down tremendously, and I fought them for a lot of it. And this is what I brought up before the town board, especially after we were mandated by the Department of Health to redo our entire water system, which was in 2008.
Yes, sir.
Okay? So, you keep bringing up the gravy train and you keep bringing up that $1.8 million, but that $1.8 million is an absolutely incorrect figure for what you're trying to propose.
No, I disagree, Andy, respectfully. Let me read from the comptroller's report.
You can read the comptroller's report from now until the day you die,
Okay, Mr.
okay?
Okay, Andy.
Andy.
Thank you.
What you need to do is own up to the fact that those dates were not within the controller's period.